All right. All right, Matt. Thank you for taking the time to be on
Thanks
this
for having me here.
podcast. A little introduction about Matt. Matt and I met a long time ago. Um, I don't know, probably 2007 or 8, right?
Yeah.
7 or 8. And we worked together. We did some things. I rented equipment from Matt before we bought our own equipment. We rented generators from Matt. Matt's been a good friend and for a long time. So
Yeah, no, I still remember you showing up in your Chevy Tahoe with a trailer and, like on a Sunday evening grabbing a HTC 800 machine and,
yeah,
getting it done.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah,
And that was kind of right when I started my company too. So,
yeah. It was it
yeah.
was, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
So let's start off with an introduction. Let's tell everybody who you are, what you do, and what does your company do, and what do you specialize in?
Okay. I'm Matt Bowen. Company is Prep Concrete and Construction. We specialize in highly decorative concrete, polished overlays, um, grind and seals, countertops, stencils, more of the mid-range jobs down to smaller, unique kind of decorative stuff. I'm in general too, so if we're not polishing floors, we're sometimes I'm framing or doing something for somebody. So kind of always doing something.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. I know you're into the decorative stuff,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
The specialty color matching and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
done a lot of color, a lot of airbrushing, and blending stuff, and
Yeah, I think
yeah,
I think
I would say that's my specialty.
yeah, I think some people have
Yeah.
hired you just for that, right?
Just I've helped a lot of big time contractors that just needed help with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun.
All right. Um, so what do you like to do? What's your favorite part, or what's your
In the industry, or
yeah, in the industry?
okay. I mean, I would say meeting the people.
Okay.
That's you know, uh, part of my role in my company is I answer phone calls, I meet clients. Um, you know, all the years I've been in business, um, 18 years, I would say, it's 99% referral base. I've never really paid to advertise, which has its pros and cons because sometimes you need that extra
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah.
But it's meeting the people, building the relationships with clients and people in the industry.
Yeah.
It's there's I would say meeting the people and developing relationships, and those people will will have a tendency of calling you back
Yeah.
just because of the friendship that you make.
Yeah.
So it's not really sometimes about the floor; it's just the connections you make too.
The camaraderie with
Yeah,
the people.
exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
It's a big deal for me also.
yeah,
It's kind of one of the reasons I'm doing this
exactly.
podcast.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because of
Because of the relationship, right?
relationship.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's tell your origin story. How did you get in this industry?
Well, so I come from a carpentry background. My dad was a cabinet maker. Grew up in that world. It's kind of my, something I'm more naturally gifted at.
Mm-hmm.
But then in around 2004, got into a little bit of stamped concrete overlays. Worked with some friends of mine that were doing a lot of overlays, and we've kind of found the need for the surface prep.
Oh, okay.
So then, and then in 2007, I think it was, I went to the World of Concrete, bought a machine,
Yeah.
started prep, and then, kind of just said, trying to figure out what to call it. And I said, well, it's prep. So if someone needs their floor prepped,
Yeah.
call Prep Concrete. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I started, was surface prep. And it kind of just evolved from, once you have the equipment to prep something, we got tooling to polish and to stain. So, yeah.
So that's how you started.
That's kind of how I got into it. It was Interesting. Yeah.
So then what? With that said, what was the hardest challenge that you had to overcome by coming into this industry? Like in the beginning, what was the hardest challenge?
I when I when I got into this industry, I right out of high school I did like drafting.
Oh yeah.
So I had a really good job, work truck, benefits, medical, dental, steady income, newly married. So then when I said, yeah, I told my family and friends I'm gonna do this, it was kind of like, you're crazy. Like why would you leave a steady income and a steady, you just got married, you got a baby on the way at the time, um, and yeah, so that was probably the hardest
Was the family part of it?
was
Or
leaving something that is comfortable
uh-huh.
to be uncomfortable
Yeah.
for so many, either a limited amount of time or a long period of time. In my case, a long period of time, but I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah.
Being my own boss and kind of my
Making your own way.
making my own way. Yeah. So that was probably the hardest thing is, when you're doing that, you're logically it doesn't make sense, but I just went for it.
Yeah.
So.
But it made you happy, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you're happy with what
when the amount of hard work and hustle, you can pretty much determine your own destiny versus working for someone.
Yeah.
My dad, like I said, my dad was a cabinet maker for 52 years. His dad was self-employed, so I kind of came from that.
Yeah.
I didn't know any other way.
Yeah, the line of entrepreneur,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we are. Yeah.
And it's, once you get a taste of it, it's kind of hard to go the other way.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
Well, all right. So while you've been in business, what is a sticky situation that made you better?
I know you just showed me these this
Yeah.
morning, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Man, there's been a lot.
I'm sure there has, because this industry has a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the backstory. When I started my company, I was 25 years old. Standing in front of architects, general contractors, the owner of the building, trying to sell myself.
Yeah.
And I'm this like quiet. At one time I was very very quiet. And
Yeah.
so that's one good example of just overcoming the fear of selling yourself, because you're selling a product to someone, but you're selling yourself.
I think you're more selling yourself over
Exactly,
the product.
So and that's one takeaway, that if I were to just retire now and do something else, owning owning Prep Concrete has taught me to be able to communicate with people, sell myself.
Yeah.
And that was probably the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Other things, dealing with, and I'm sure you can attest to this. I've worked for millionaires, billionaires, people that think they're rich, people that have no money, and you learn to figure out how to deal with people.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the person that's saved up for 2 years for their job is the most grateful customer you have. Sometimes the guy that's thinks he's rich is the biggest arrogant person you've ever worked for. So
and the most pain, right?
Yeah. So I think in a nutshell, working from job to job and building the relationships and figuring out. I'm to the point now where I really try to interview without it being an official interview. I'm trying to interview my customers. So is this customer right for me?
Absolutely.
And if I can, and I learned a little bit from my dad, doing cabinets, but sometimes you get a feel for this is not going to be a good fit, or I'm not going to be able to please this person, and you find ways to not do those jobs. Yeah. So
and those can be very sticky situations.
And those are costly things you have to learn.
Yeah.
You don't just automatically learn those things. You have to lose your butt on jobs, and then you realize, you know what, my gut told me not to work for that person.
And I did it anyways.
I did it anyways because I needed the money. But
yeah,
sometimes you gotta walk away because sometimes something better is just around the corner. So
yeah,
you know,
and that's part of the next question.
Okay.
Is how do you handle it? How did you handle it, and what do you learn? And you kind of elaborated on it a little bit already. And just because sometimes not every customer is a good customer, and not every customer is right for you, right?
And people have you've heard it said, like, probably online, and other people say it, but when maybe when your price is too expensive, maybe you're just too expensive for that person.
That's it,
or whatever. And it's not, you can't, we're all in this industry to make a living and to make money.
Yeah.
And when I first started, we did a lot of free things. Yeah, and I think we all probably have, and we've
just to get in the door, you do something free, right?
Just bring the whole trailer and do a big mock-up and come back multiple times asking questions, and or try to beat someone's price that maybe was inferior to yours, but you just got to get it done. So
yeah. It's a big learning curve, right?
It is.
It is a big learning curve. It is a very big learning curve. So let's move into this workforce training.
Okay.
How do you find new personnel, and what is your approach on training and retaining good talent? And
well,
you have a couple good guys that's been a while.
I have a
with
couple
you.
guys that have been with me for 15 or 16. I guess it's 2026 now, so probably 16 years. That great guys, and this is the kind of industry that we need training, but it's not something. Experience is the only teacher with this stuff, because you can't just. I've hired a lot of guys, that within a month they knew it all, and either they started their own thing or it just didn't work out. So that's probably the hardest part in this industry is you finding someone that's willing to learn, willing to put the time in, and doesn't just want to start their own company.
Yeah.
Because then you do end up training your competition.
Yeah.
And I've trained a lot of my competition, unfortunately, but I'm anyone that knows me knows that I'm willing to help, and it's I'd rather help them succeed than to make the money, and maybe that's not gone in my favor financially, but I'm grateful and blessed for the couple of guys that are with me still over the years, and I can turn them loose, and they know, they would say they know the floors better than me now, which is that's the end goal, is to, when you teach someone, you want them
to be better than you.
Yeah. You want your kids to be better than you.
Yeah.
So that's
it's a big deal.
That's the
and
goal.
you are a good person, and you treat people correctly, and like you said, sometimes that doesn't work in your favor, but at least you keep the honesty of who you are, right?
Yeah.
And some people change, and some people have that complex they end up getting, right?
Yeah.
We've all worked for those type of people.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, training is there. So, industry topics and insight. What is something you are passionate about in this industry? What is one thing that Matt Bowen likes, that is very passionate about specifically in this industry?
Okay. I mean, I would say I'm pretty passionate with seeing people succeed, whether it's and obviously there's so many facets that we could talk about around life, but if you hone in the concrete world, I was thinking about this the other day, like some of the reps, epoxy reps, like Mike Molnex, for instance, with Cretus, that used to be Westcoat, and Matt and Jeremy from Metzger McGuire, and folks from Runyon and Ace High and Don John and all, and Spec West, that used to be a big.
They
got bought out by
Whitecap, yeah.
but those are the people that there's like a small community that we have.
Yeah.
That we've all helped each other. We've all sometimes been a shoulder to cry on or a phone call.
Yeah.
So that's probably the thing I love about this industry is, Jason Campbell from Ameripolish that's been a good friend and a rep for dyes and stuff.
Yeah.
You have these friendships that you've made that are close to 20 years going, old.
Yeah, going on more now.
Yeah,
now that
more.
we're getting older.
Yeah, now they're getting older. We're becoming the
old guys,
the older
right?
guys. That it goes a long way because, and I'm probably missing people, but so if people are listening to this, don't feel bad, but yeah, there's definitely a community of people that you develop these relationships, and it soon does not become about concrete and epoxy anymore. It becomes about how are you doing and how can I help and how's your family?
Yeah.
And because at the end of the day, people like us, people like our dads, time goes on where we're either retired or not doing this anymore, and what better way to be, and maybe that's the next question, but another passionate thing I have about myself is I've been helping Lee over here at Ace High, with training and teaching the next generation, teaching them correctly.
Yeah.
Because giving someone a good foundation, no pun intended,
Yeah.
it's like you teach, if they're taught properly from the beginning. And so that's something also I'm passionate about is seeing someone that knows nothing learn correctly and succeed.
Yeah.
Because it's really, the industry is not about one particular person. At least it shouldn't be.
Better than the other.
Better than the other, or this person became filthy rich, and and it's more about the community of people.
And that's a lot about what this podcast is about. Is about bringing the people, that community together that we've all been a part of for so long. Like, and maybe we didn't know what we were doing when we were a little bit younger.
No,
but then it's all came. Even if we've been apart for a little while, every time we've seen each other or come around as the little small group that you described, it's always been good. It's always been a good camaraderie, no matter what. So, and those are things that I like, and those are things I'm passionate about more than I am the money, right?
Yeah.
And when I was younger, maybe I was more interested in the money, and I didn't understand some things, and then when you lose a lot and you kind of reflect on who's around and who was there, it kind of makes a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So those things I am also passionate about a lot, and I like that.
In this industry, for me and for you, I've raised 4 beautiful daughters. My wife and I have been married 23 years, all because I decided to just keep trucking along.
Yeah.
And I can't say I'm filthy rich, but you do something long enough and with enough integrity, and you keep pushing, you're going to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, you're going to make the money that's sufficient for you, right?
Exactly.
And you may have hard times, and you may have good times, and you may have but that's part of entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah. So it's
you can win and lose really quick, either way.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So all right, what advice would you give to the next generation that's trying to break into this industry?
Oh man, I would say
that the common answer is run right away, but but I think you have a different one.
Yeah, I would say, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to learn. Don't act. Go to as many trainings as you can. Go. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to lose money. I think the jobs that fail and you fix them and you have pride about, fixing them.
Yeah.
Are the best teachers.
Yes.
Contractors that try to just cut corners and they have a failure and then they just and you never see them again. You're for one, you're hurting your customer, but you're just hurting yourself
And the industry.
and the industry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great industry. It's not so good on your knees and back.
No, I don't think so.
But
I haven't.
but yeah, you can't like I'm not afraid to get on my hands and knees and tape stuff up, and you can't ever think you're
Too good.
too good to do anything.
Yeah, too good to get on your knees and grind.
Yeah,
concrete.
you can't because
And I still do till this day. I try not to, but
it happens.
It happens, you know.
So
because you got to show, you got to teach, and
Yeah.
if you see something, you got to be able to teach somebody, and you got to be able to show them. Even though that we are getting older, I don't want to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's
I don't wanna date myself too much.
There's people probably laughing at us.
Yeah,
right now
I would
by
guarantee it. I
us
guarantee
saying
it.
that we're old. We're not. Yeah.
What do you wish someone would have told you when you started? What is some advice that you wish somebody would have told you as a young Matt and said
When I started.
when you started, it said, "Hey Matt, you should probably do this." Guided you. What was some advice that you would want that you wish you would have had?
I would say, well, for one, not getting into debt.
Yeah.
There's good debt but when I've seen a lot of contractors start big, get crazy,
In debt, right?
and
Crazy in debt.
that, but just like their business blows up, and then they've had so much debt. But I would say like surround yourself with like-minded people, even if they're not. And I'm still learning this, that doesn't mean you surround yourself with 10 people that are in the concrete industry or the epoxy industry, but surround yourself with people that are like-minded in your values and want, that you can fall back on, like a brotherhood or a family of people that you can say, hey, this is where I'm going. And, because there's going to be, like you said, hard times, good times. If you surround yourself with, people that don't want to go anywhere in life, you're going to eventually
Be the same.
be the same. So I mean, I'm always trying to surround myself with like-minded people.
Yeah.
And using what I've learned in this industry to not limit myself of what I maybe will do in 20 years. I might not be doing this, but what I've learned in this industry will help, the next half of my life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We still got some time, I think.
Oh yeah, we got
I
time.
think we got some time.
Well, they said the little guys live the longest, so
Yeah.
we're
Well,
good.
I'm gonna live a long time.
Yeah.
Man. I'm gonna live a long time.
It's like a little dog.
Yeah, they do live the longest. All right, so talking about one of the last questions here is like, so we talked a little bit about our nonprofit organization we're starting, and so the question I like to ask everybody that we interview is, we're building a training facility in Oklahoma City, centralized in the country, to bring young men out of prison, drug addicts out of rehab, and veterans that are in the rehabilitation program to train them this trade in a 60 to 90 day program.
Okay.
So if there was a program like that, and that would have prepare new hires to go into a workforce, is that something you would support, and is that something you would like to be a part of, and then why?
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, like I said before, like seeing someone that is willing to learn and has a good a good heart, I guess you'd say, to say, hey, I want to learn this. I'm doing this for me, or I'm doing this for my family, especially people like you described. I mean, I'd love to come out there and be a part of, maybe the stuff that I'm really skilled at, helping them, because those people, you never know, they're the next. They could be one of those, or all of them could be the next, the most talented,
Brilliant.
brilliant mind in our industry.
Yeah,
You never
they,
know.
And they
So
just might need a little,
they need a little help. Yeah.
push, you know.
No, I think that's great. Yeah. I never, obviously, I never had to struggle with that or anything, and I don't have that background, but I know our country needs more of that to to get people,
Back working.
back working and get a trade that they can always fall back on a trade, because you can't.
Well, and then also the belief system, right? So hopefully, bring it back to the core values of our country, right? The workforce and whether you're faith based or not.
Yeah.
It's a big part of being positive in the
Yeah.
in the world, right?
Yeah.
Instead of being the negative part of the world, because there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of negative.
Yeah.
And,
No,
and
I'd
some
love
new-
I'd
new-
love to fly out there and
Yeah.
help you.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't donate like millions of dollars or anything.
No,
but,
we're gonna let the state and the
That's
federal
good.
government
Yeah.
fund this thing
Yeah.
rather than taking money from individuals.
No,
I
that's
think
good. Yeah.
I think the state and the federal government can participate.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
and we'll work on that. And
Yeah.
if anybody is listening to part of that, I'd like to reach out.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely, I was talking to another a good friend of mine that's an epoxy contractor, and there's some of these things that are required. They're slowly, becoming harder and harder to keep people that know what they're doing, like just certain things, like for instance, like the old-fashioned way of putting coving on a wall, that you don't really see people doing that much anymore.
It's hard to find.
And so even in the world I came from before concrete, with carpentry and finish work and stuff, it's the people that are in their 70s that just no longer can work have all that experience up here, and it's we got to be able to make sure we pass that down.
Yeah, pass it down.
So
Mike Rowe with the Dirty Jobs,
Oh, yeah.
the Dirty
Yeah,
Jobs guy.
Yeah.
He is real big on the workforce for the trades.
No, yeah, I love listening to him.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of his stuff,
Yeah.
and hopefully one day he'll listen to this podcast, and I'd like
Yeah.
to have him on here. And it's a big deal to make the trades good again, right? Like,
Yeah.
college is for some people, but it's not for everybody. And the trades, we make a very good living doing the trades. And,
Yeah.
there's no lack of openings for guys that are willing to work and work their butt
Oh, yeah.
off until they they can make a very good wage.
Yeah.
And some of our guys and some of the guys that you probably make more than college graduates on
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
on any given day.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Definitely.
talking down on college whatsoever.
No,
it's just
yeah.
it's just not for everybody.
I think as a society we've frowned, the garbage truck man and the
Yeah.
epoxy installer
Yeah.
or the concrete finisher or the plumber or the
Yeah.
electrician, but it's like those people are just doing their kids a disservice, because those people are making more money than a lot of other people.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it just
I mean-
takes a little bit of grit and
Just a little bit.
hard work.
Couple years and you're up
Yeah.
in the top.
Yeah.
If you sit and learn for a couple years,
Yeah.
you'll jump to the top very quick.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to.
Oh yeah.
And you'll be making that salary that you desire.
Exactly. Yeah.
We all want the big salary. We all want the big money, right? Like,
Yeah.
we all shoot for that when we're young. We did think
Yeah.
that it's just, it's easy. But
Yeah.
if you put in a couple good years, I believe you can make a decent living for you and your family.
Yeah.
And I've seen
Definitely.
it. And I've seen
Yeah.
it. I've seen it in all.
No, I'm
of my-
excited for you guys. I totally support that. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is awesome, and
Yeah.
thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's wrap it up. Let's
Okay.
see. Where can people find you and your
Okay.
company online? So let's tell the world
So
where you are.
I have Instagram. It's Prep Concrete 1, PREPCONCRETE 1. I do have Facebook. You can look me up, Matt Bowen. I don't have any other stuff. I need to, I'm not some TikToker or anything. So
Yeah,
maybe I should.
I haven't went to the TikTok
but
yet.
yeah, Instagram, we like I said, we focus on the medium to smaller, higher end jobs. But I've done this many times where I've flown out and helped, like a larger company that doesn't know how to, blend color or lay a stencil or do even polishing, like flooring companies, for instance. Like that's what Lee and I've been kind of working with some of these
and more on the consulting side, right?
well, yeah, like these union flooring companies that don't know how to, they can bid the polish, but they don't know how.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I've been, I enjoy helping those people too. So
Well, that's cool.
yeah, even though you'd think, well, Matt, you're running your own company, but at the end of the day, like I'm a small company, so I would much rather see people succeed and know the correct way of doing things.
Well, it helps the industry.
It helps the industry, yeah,
and
it builds relationships and stuff. So yeah.
You and I are similar in that because I have helped a lot of contractors.
Yeah.
In the past and in the now.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that. I do. I really do enjoy it. And
yeah.
So
I don't think anyone loves watching someone fail when because then like say for instance it's bad for the manufacturer because then they say, oh well, that they put that product down and it never cured.
Yeah.
That
product, and then now that product name has a black eye.
Yeah. So it's getting down to the education and of how to do it.
Yeah.
It is. So yeah.
So, any last thoughts about this, about the industry, about the podcast, about anything, or any shout outs to people who have helped you along the way?
Yeah, I mean, a good friend of mine, Chris Swanson. He's we actually started together years ago doing overlays, and this was probably a Mericrete products, and old, probably brick form was probably the first. Back then there wasn't a lot of stuff.
No, there wasn't a lot of overlays back then.
But yeah, we did some. When I was in my mid-20s doing these crazy artwork and stencils and $10,000 vinyl stencils that if you dropped it you'd ruin the whole thing. And so he's taught me a lot. Lee Sartain, I've mentioned it a little bit on different stuff on his Instagram, but he was one of the first reps I met out here in the Sacramento area. This was back when he worked at Magic Diamond, and and I always remember his grit and his just the way he just went to my job site and was showing me tooling. And you didn't really see and you still see it now that there's diamond reps will either cold call you, or they're sitting at their office waiting for you to show up. But
they won't never.
But
come
like
out
Lee,
there.
for instance, he actually called. He called me, found out where I was, went to my job site. This was, I don't know how long ago this was. Maybe
2008, probably.
Maybe, yeah.
I think that's when I met Lee too.
Yeah.
Is it right when he was at Magic Concrete?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, him, Sierra, Leanna, that used to work at Runyon.
Yeah.
They were, they've always, they were always good.
They were a big part of
good
it.
friends and good, making sure, hey, do you have what you need? Because obviously people that are listening to this, they're going to have their different regions, but our in this time frame of where we live in Northern California, we've had a couple suppliers and a couple
very few though.
Very few.
Yeah.
Folks at Spec West. I mean, that's now Whitecap, but I've known a lot of those guys. I've known for even before I started polishing concrete, like back when I was buying, decking and, rebar and other things. I've known a lot of those guys for 22 years or 23 years. So, I mean,
And they're all good people.
And
man.
they're people that if someone called asking for, surface prep or polishing or whatever, they would refer me. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the relationships because a lot of my work's referral based.
Yeah.
So
And those are all good people that you named.
those are good people. Yeah.
And good people that have been around me for the same amount of time.
Yeah.
And it's been really,
I'm
really
sure
good.
I'm missing people. But
I'm sure.
I'm putting on the spot.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I didn't give you much preparation for this.
No.
'Cause I normally send this a couple days before, and I didn't send
That's
it to you
okay.
at all
That's
until
okay.
this morning. So I do apologize for that.
Yeah.
And then I want to thank you for taking the time because I know you're a busy guy, and I know you have things to do. So I do
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
you taking the time to do this.
Yeah.
And thank you, Matt.
Yeah, you're a good friend of mine.
Yeah. And we'll do more as the nonprofit kind of pans out. We're gonna probably do more in 2027.
Okay.
And then there'll be a lot of work up to that date, but we're gonna try to launch in 2027. Sometime. I don't want to put a timeline on it because I don't want to miss it.
Yeah, my grandma was. I don't know if the podcast is still going on, but my grandma's side was from Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
And that's where we want to do it because that's where I live and that's where I can spend most of.
Yeah.
I would like to retire and then only do the nonprofit organization.
I'd like to retire with you.
Yeah.
Well, not with you, but
I know what you mean.
time.
I know what you mean. And I don't know if I'm close there yet, but
but
we're shooting for it.
I've learned, it's contentment and it's being at peace because you can be I've worked for multi-millionaires, billionaires, and if you're not a happy person, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at in my life now. It's
so
honestly, I trust God to guide me through this process because He is the one that put the idea in my mind. And so that's it.
Yeah.
I may have a dirty mouth, but that's the way that I believe,
Well, one of the greatest apostles from the Bible was Paul, and he killed Christians and was a bad person until God met him. You know, so it's like God can use anybody.
Yeah,
so.
and that's why the second chances are a big deal to me. Because it's that reason, right?
Yeah,
like it's that, and that's the core of it.
It's exciting to think about someone that made a poor choice and they were able to have confidence in themselves and become, some of the greatest, most charismatic people out there, like singers and some of these, celebrities that you see, like
they've been through some.
They've been through some stuff, but God definitely uses their gifts, to be great people, and have a good impact.
And I like it. I love it. I love watching it. And I want to be a part of it. I want to be an impact. So
yeah, awesome.
That's what we're doing, man.
We call it sticky impact.
Sticky impact. Yeah. So